Just putting it back on live right now. So just take just a second. We'll be.
You already have that segment that you were wanting for social media?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Put it back on live right now. Just take just a second. We'll be yes, sir. You're good.
So I'm doing a short prayer.
I felt the shade for the last month.
Yeah, I felt so. I stopped about 2 days before.
Okay, we're good to go, man. Nope.
Okay, ready? Okay, I'll call the meeting back to order. Discussion items. Item 1, discussion regarding an ordinance authorizing the issuance of City of Everman, Texas tax notes, Series 2021. It's item number 21043.
I just wanted to make sure that we put this on this work session agenda. We talked about it at the last special meeting. Mr. Friedman is here from Samco Capital to answer any further questions. The next step after tonight will be to pose this ordinance for consideration next week during the regular session to approve the tax notes. The tax notes are actually in the amount of $525,000, $25,000 being the portion that will be due to the varying firms that are assisting with this, those fees. And Andrew can probably explain that a little better than I can because I'm not a finance guy. But Andrew, I'll kind of turn it over to you if there's anything else to highlight on this before we get to questions.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Spencer. Andrew Friedman with Samco Capital Markets. I don't have an update for you all other than what we'd already discussed related to this tax note. We will be receiving bids at noon the day of your meeting next week, and we'll be able to bring those results to you. We've put it out to probably 40 different banks, both local, statewide, and regional. And so we'll present those bid results to you all at that time. Certainly our recommendation will be to award to the lowest interest rate we receive. As the chief mentioned, we're going to borrow $525,000. You will receive at closing $500,000, $25,000 of which will be used to pay for the costs of issuance, and that's for the various parties that are assisting in this: bond attorneys, the state's attorney general's office, unforeseen or unaccounted for expenses that we may or may not have related to whoever the winning bidder is, if they've got their own expenses that they expect to charge the city for. So that $25,000 is really a placeholder right now, not knowing the exact amount of those costs of issuance, but certainly they won't exceed that. And so we'll have all of that final information for you at your council meeting next week, along with the bid results. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have related to the process, et cetera. That's all I've got for you this evening.
Do we have any questions?
Oh, yes, I do. On the ordinance on the first page, it mentions improving City Hall. What is supposed to be done to City Hall?
So the City Hall Annex is an extension of City Hall. That is the reasoning for the wording there. And then we also, as a part of this project with the CO bond, are interested in the purchase of the property immediately adjacent to City Hall, which would be included with that wording as well.
Correct, but the purchase of that property was not included in this amount, was it? I thought it was the first amount that was approved.
That's true. We have to maintain we have to follow the same wording, and this is all legally driven. It's not financially driven by any stretch. That's the way that it had to be worded, given the way that the land comes together and how the projects that are being financed. So even though we would call this a civic center improvement, it's part of the City Hall complex. The the original dollars borrowed for this, that use of proceeds referred to a city hall complex, and so we have to follow that same wording. And it restricts those funds to being spent on this city hall complex, the land acquisition, the parking lot resurfacing that I think this is actually going towards, or a large part of this is going towards. So it's legally driven more than it is anything else.
My next question is, I believe it was, what is it stated that $80,000 for 7 years, is that correct?
I'm not sure what the
For
80,000.
the payments, I'm sorry, for the payments.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Obviously that's not exactly known entirely right now without having a final interest rate in hand, but it'll be roughly $80,000 a year for 7 years to pay off the $525,000.
Have we got $80,000 a year to pay on this?
If you recall, we took this to the Economic Development Corporation for their consideration for repayment, for the allocation of their funds for the repayment of these taxes.
Okay.
And they voted to approve those funds to pay
Okay.
for this tax.
So the EDC is going to be paying the 80,000 every year.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Andrew. We'll be seeing you next week.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you all. Have a good night.
You as
Bye.
well.
Bye-bye.
This next item 2, is City of Everman Personnel Manual updates. Update, item 21044.
So probably not going to be too much to discuss on this issue tonight. I will be proposing this draft to you next week during the regular session for final approval. The last update to our personnel manual, or actual personnel manual, was in 2002. We've had many policy changes that have come out over the years and memos that have come out over the years that have changed the personnel manual. But as far as actually adopting those changes into, or incorporating those changes into the personnel manual, the city hasn't done that since 2002. So almost every change that you're going to see in that copy of the personnel manual is due to a policy or memo that was put out either by city administration or city council change, either through HR or one of the other avenues that we commonly go through. So there's no redraw of the personnel manual. It's not like we came in and totally rewrote it. All these changes are solely driven by the way that we are currently functioning today. If you look at the personnel manual, the copy, all of the highlighted sections within the personnel manual are the sections that have changes in it. So unless there's any questions, that's what we're going to be posing next week for your approval.
Is the human resource person a director? That person's up under the city manager, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
And who's up under the human resource director? Is that, go ahead.
She does,
I'm sorry.
yeah, she doesn't actively supervise any personnel.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 3, consideration of the City of Everman newspaper of record, item 21041.
Okay, so this came to us and came to our attention, and Mindy and I started discussing this last week after we received a $5,000 bill for a legal posting that was required in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram.
Mm-hmm.
The newspaper of record currently for the City of Everman is the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. And we would like to propose that the City Council elect to change that to the Commercial Reporter because of cost. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't post in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram for particular things, but the reason why this particular posting costs so much was because all of the legal wording that was required to be put into the newspaper. It was a long posting. As we do more of these water projects and big bid projects, we're going to continue to see those kind of prices with posting within the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. City council can obviously elect at any time when we move forward on projects. If you wish to have something posted in the Forward Star Telegram, we could certainly do that in addition to the commercial recorder. However, after discussing with our city engineering firm, he has told us that the majority of the folks that he sees bidding on our projects or bidding on projects altogether come from the commercial recorder. The commercial recorder is the newspaper that, not the general public, but those who operate businesses and firms to bid on those sorts of projects go to find those listings. So our recommendation would be to have our newspaper of record change from the Forward Star Telegram to the commercial recorder.
And what is the difference in the cost between the two?
Enormous.
Big, enormous.
Yeah,
I mean, it just depends on what the posting is, but it's nothing like Star Telegram, nothing.
We used to use this. In fact, we changed from that to back to the Star Telegram. We keep going one way or the other.
And I think the logic behind it would be more individuals read the Star Telegram than they do the commercial recorder.
Yes.
However, the purpose of posting, the majority of our postings is targeting towards firms and to get bids. Well, those are the most expensive things to put inside the newspaper.
You bet.
And those firms go to the commercial recorder to find the projects that they might be eligible for.
Well, even with the Star Telegram, posting that stuff, the general public's not going to read it.
Right.
That's in the sections they're not going to read, so it's the same people, so.
Well, and if we have something that's a sensitive topic that council members wish to make sure that there's plenty of knowledge out there about, there's nothing wrong with us posting it in the Star Telegram in addition to the commercial recorder. We just have to make sure we're conscious of that as we move forward.
Is this something we could do
Okay.
social media wise too?
We can post it anywhere. We can post it on website, social media, CTY. The law requires us to post it in
Yeah.
a newspaper of record, as long as we comply with that. But we can take it as far as city council wants to take it.
Okay. Any other
Where do you-
questions? Oh.
Yeah, where do you get a copy of the commercial recorder?
City Hall, here, we have them available here at City Hall.
Y'all get one every week or month or however frequently they put it
We
out?
have them available for distribution here. People can come up to City Hall and pick them up for free.
How frequently does it come out?
Oh, weekly, I believe.
I think so, yeah. I think it's weekly.
I believe weekly, but we can figure out that answer for sure before we make a final decision.
I'm okay with changing it. The Star Telegram is very pricey.
Yes, very.
I about had a heart attack when I saw the $5,000
I can imagine I
bill
would.
for a newspaper. posting.
What?
Do we have any other questions or comments? Okay, let's move down to item 4, City of Everman fee schedule, library fees, item number 21047.
So in reviewing of our fee schedule, our library fees, first off, are not even incorporated within our fee schedule, and they legally need to be. And two, Billy is actually on the Zoom call by phone, and he has done a review of the library fees and has made his recommendations on what they should be, which is what's been submitted to you for your consideration. I'll let Billy explain how he got to those fees, but what we're going to do is be presenting an ordinance to you next week that will amend our fee schedule to incorporate library fees. Billy, do you want to add anything on the fee schedule?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Sure
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
I looked at other non-membership fees in the area. Crowley, they charge $15 a year plus $10 each additional person. Burleson, they charge $25 a year for individuals and $50 for families. Kennedale charges $35 a year. Fort Worth is $50 a year, and Dallas charges $250 a year per person.
Wow.
Yes, very expensive.
Do we have a lot of people come in and use our library that are within the Everman ISD or non-residents?
We have a lot of people come and use the library, yes, a mixture of residents and non-residents.
if you had to guess, Billy, what do you think? What do you think it'd be? 50-50 or
Um,
more residents?
Probably, yes, probably about 50-50, I would say.
Imagine a lot of the people where they're closest, especially like the Fort Worth area, we're the closest library available to them. So, okay. Does anybody have any questions
No,
for Billy or Craig
looks good.
or Susan?
Nope.
Looks good.
Well, then we will move down to, thanks, Billy.
You're welcome.
Move down, next item is interlocal agreement with the city of Fort Worth for flood warning system, item number 21042.
Okay, so in case y'all weren't aware, we had a flood in 2018. That was a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
Following that flood, we've been working on multiple different facets of trying to do things like enhance our pre-warning capabilities. How are we going to perform a flood study, mitigation, all sorts of things. This was started thanks to Mr. David McCurdy, who's our Tarrant County Emergency Management Coordinator. And we began having a conversation with the city of Fort Worth about implementing some sort of flood warning system within our city. How are we going to alert our drivers when we have water over the roadway to prevent them from driving into that roadway? I can tell you that every time that we have any significant rainfall, we do have vehicle rescues that occur, and those vehicle rescues almost always occur on Ray Street, right about Pittman Avenue, as well as on Everman Parkway, right there about the Dollar General. So those two areas were areas of concern. We reached out to Fort Worth through the county office and asked them how they got their system implemented on Everman Parkway. And they turned around and said, how about we cut you a deal, because they received grant funding to pay for all of the equipment that's installed. And pretty much what they're asking is that, or what they're offering is that they will cover the cost of the equipment under the grant. So we will not have to purchase any equipment. We will, however, be responsible for the cost of installation. The installation is done through Bean Electrical, and Fort Worth would continue to maintain that system for however long is ultimately agreed to between our city council and Fort Worth City Council. I believe the terms on the initial agreement laid it out as 3 years. He said that's something that we can negotiate with the Fort Worth City Council to push that out maybe 5 or 6 years as far as maintenance. But it is definitely an opportunity that I feel should not be left to my decision. I feel that should be left to your decision. I'm just bringing this to you now to kind of give you a heads up on what it is. And I'm waiting on those cost estimates to come back on installation from Bean Electrical. But we may be bringing this before you very soon in the near future to ask for your approval to spend funds on this project.
Have you
Sounds
got
like a great idea.
have you got a ballpark on how much it might cost?
I've been told somewhere between $15,000 and $30,000.
Ooh. Do we have that much money sitting around?
Sitting around? No, ma'am. We don't have any money sitting around. But we'll have to.
You know what I mean.
we
Let me
haven't-
reword that. Do
we
we
haven't-
have that? Go ahead.
Yeah, we haven't had an opportunity to sit down. I really want to wait because that's a pretty big gap, $15,000 to $30,000. I really want to wait until we get those quotes in from Bean Electrical and the installation before we start looking at where we might be able to get funds to pay for something like this.
Okay.
There's
Are
also
there possibly any grants?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Are there possibly any grants out there for things like that?
Not any grants that will cover the installation. However, there may be other funding opportunities out there that might help cover the installation. And again, that's kind of why we're waiting on the cost is one, I wanted to kind of get your temperature and see what you guys thought about adding flood warning system on Race and Everman Parkway. And also find out if this was something that you were even interested in. And if so, I'm going to continue to pursue it. And we're going to see if we can't find outside funding to help push this project forward.
Definitely needed.
I think it's a great idea.
Well, Craig, and also we've got to push for 5 or 6 years. You know, if we're going to make this type of
Yep.
investment, we need
6 or 7.
Need more time. So,
Yeah.
for sure.
Get as many years as you can out of them.
Absolutely.
So, do we have any other questions? Everybody good with it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we will move down to trash pickup, item 21046, Johnny Allen.
I have a concern regarding our trash pickup because we were called last Christmas week and said to put our trash out that Saturday. I'm pretty sure that the residents on my side didn't expect for trash to be picked up for Christmas. But by them telling us to sit it out, we did. I understand with the large trash pickups and everything. Oh, but they did pick up our recycle. I don't know what they did on the other side of town, but they did pick up our recycle. They just didn't pick up the regular trash.
Correct.
I think the regular trash is more voluminous than the recycle. So when we got the call this past Saturday to put out recycle, like I said, I think I think the regular trash is more voluminous than recycle, and that could wait. So in the near future, I think that to either pick it up before the holiday or just wait till the next pickup.
Yes, ma'am. So the week of Christmas, and I just kind of want to offer an explanation. The week of Christmas, we were notified because we had residents calling to City Hall and asking about trash pickup. We were notified by Waste Connections that they would not be performing any pickup at all on Friday. We expressed concern because we knew ahead of time that the following Friday was also supposed to be a holiday, and that meant that we wouldn't have any recycling pickup at all for 3 weeks. There was a miscommunication between us and the company on the Saturday following Christmas. We understood that they were going to pick up trash and recycling. Their understanding was that they were only going to pick up recycling. So there was a large miscommunication there. And we had residents all over the city who had trash out until the following Tuesday when they began their regular pickup. Then we ran into delays, and the delays for the trash pickup were due to the volume. We had residents that did not get their trash picked up until Thursday, the day before the next pickup was supposed to be scheduled, which was actually going to be a holiday. So we've been on the phone. I can tell you that all of the ladies up front have been trying their best to communicate better with Waste Connections. I have had several conversations with Waste Connections. Mindy has had several conversations with Waste Connections. Our fear is that we were not going to get any sort of pickup for recycling for 3 weeks. When we asked about the trash pickup following the New Year holiday, we were told that by contract, they are not obligated to pick up trash or recycling if it falls on a holiday, and that they were doing the recycling pickup as a courtesy pickup since we were going to go 3 weeks without any recycling pickup. So fortunately, they picked up the recycling. Unfortunately, there was a large miscommunication, and it happened at a very terrible time of the year where the volume due to COVID and it being the holidays and everybody being at home was just astronomically high. He estimated on the phone with me 70% more volume than normal pickup would be. And he has promised me that he is going to send me the exact numbers once he has those. I have not received them yet, but as soon as I get that email, I'm going to forward it to all of you so you can see. Definitely something we will work better on communicating with them better in the future and making sure that our citizens are more aware. But we understand that it caused a significant issue. And believe me, we received many, many phone calls about it.
Craig, I have a question.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
know every year Christmas happens and extra trash happens at that time of year. Did something happen with the management that they didn't plan right, or it has never been a problem until this year? And the trash men that I have seen come by is one driver and one person picking up. Do they not have any extra help?
He tells me that the staffing is not an issue. He says that COVID has not affected their staffing and that they are fully staffed. So there shouldn't be any staffing issues that would cause this. When we review the contract as a city, as a person who enters that contract, I think next time we look at this contract and review it, we need to take a look at what holidays are going to be affected. We didn't do that when engaging in this contract this time, and nobody thought about it until the week of Christmas that we realized, well, we've got 2 recycling pickups that aren't going to happen. So I don't want to put all the blame on Waste Connections by any means. We need to take a look at that contract and find out what dates are not going to have pickup. And we need to look at the contract and find out about putting alternatives into that contract so we can have those, have the excess picked up.
But I really don't think that the recycle was really the problem. It was really the trash.
The trash.
And it was more important to pick up the trash than the recycle, because that Friday, that's our regular pickup. So they
Exactly.
never considered recycling at all.
Miriam, we can't hear you well.
Oh, I said that they should have just done trash. The recycling was not the issue. It was the trash. And the
Right.
trash pickup days were Fridays. So that should have been the first thing that they should have been concerned about instead of the recycling. And that is where they probably went wrong. They didn't plan correctly. We probably asked for the wrong thing. It probably was a miscommunication, but that's something that we really do need to focus on, even for any future holiday. It's not recycling the problem, it's the trash. And we really need to take care of the trash instead of the recycling.
Well, but as far as trash goes, we're still getting that 1 day a week with the holidays of trash pickup. Whereas recycling, we were looking at 3 weeks of no pickup. That's where the
But see, that's
concern
the thing
was.
about it. They didn't miss 3 weeks with us.
Johnny,
we
they
got
would
picked-
have, if they hadn't have picked up on Saturday, it would have been 3 weeks of no recycling.
Well, like I said, they picked up recycling on our side.
Yeah,
So-
on Saturday. They didn't do it on Friday, but that's because Craig and them were on the phone and convinced them they needed to come out and do the recycling pickup. If they had not done those 2 pickups, it would have been 3 weeks
And
worth of recycling.
they were flat out blunt about they were not going to do an extra trash pickup because it fell on a holiday. They
Well,
said
the trash is
contractually they
covered under
weren't.
the contract.
Yeah,
so.
they said contractually they're not obligated to and they weren't going to do it. The only thing that they offered for us was the extra recycling pickup on Saturday. So we kind of took what we could to try to help alleviate at least some of the problems.
Well, it didn't help either that it was posted on social media that it was going to be picked up on Saturday too.
Oh, believe me, I have received and heard all the calls about how we told them it was going to be trash and recycling and it wasn't.
Like Craig said, when these contracts come up, we will make sure and,
Be more specific.
yeah, it will address these issues. I mean, who knows, maybe 10 years before it happens again, but it's going to be in the contract. So
We have been beaten up about the trash. I can promise you. This will not happen again.
Well, we need to look at the rest of this contract and see what other days are going to be affected and plan ahead for that.
We had a copy of the contract delivered. The mayor's got a copy of it now, and we're actually taking a look at that as we speak.
Okay, just sort of,
I don't have a copy.
When
You don't
we
have-
had that issue on that Tuesday that the trash didn't get picked up until Wednesday morning and Thursday, was that done on a call out to let people know?
Well, like I said,
No, because
the day after Christmas, that Saturday, they picked up our recycle. So
Yeah,
we were not 3 weeks out, not on my side.
Johnny, it's not what we're saying. What I'm saying is if they had not picked up those days that they agreed to, it would have been 3 weeks of no recycling pickup.
Yeah, if we wouldn't have called them and
That
asked
would
them
have
to
been
do the
Christmas
extra
Day
pickup.
and New Year's Day. If the Friday pickups, because we didn't
No,
have. those
but
two
see, that's
Fridays.
what I'm telling you. The Friday, the Saturday after Christmas, they picked up our recycle.
They did that citywide. That's
Yes.
not the issue. The issue is
Well,
if they
at
had
least
not
it's all-
picked
at least
up,
it's
it would
all
have been
taken
3
care of
weeks worth
now.
of recycling.
To answer your trash question, no, we did not put a CTY out because we couldn't get information from Waste Connections. One, we didn't know until Wednesday morning that there was still trash not being picked up. The girls at the front were calling, we were trying to get answers.
Oh, okay.
We didn't get answers until I finally got the answer Friday when the trash had already finally been completed and
And
picked up.
that's really not, and that's something that shouldn't have occurred because that is on a regular Trash Tuesday pickup.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
think really what probably happened is that miscommunication for the Saturday trash. So everybody really like loaded up all their trash. Didn't get picked up until that Tuesday. So, and then still trash didn't get picked up until Wednesday morning and Thursday, and it really had a lot of people concerned. But other than that, I really don't think that it was bad. It's just a miscommunication.
Well, like Craig said, you know, it's a 70%
Yeah, it was
increase
more,
in
yeah.
trash pickup because of the holiday
Right.
and then missing a Friday. I mean, I bet it was more than that.
Well, I'm
So
sure
that's
it was.
probably a very conservative
The
number.
only thing I expressed to them is that I wish that they would communicate that with us. We understand that there's going to be a delay, but we can't notify citizens of what the problem is or what to expect if we're not told what to expect.
Well, I think what the thing is too is if I would have known that they were picking up recycle or trash, whichever, I wouldn't have set my trash out, period, because I knew it was a holiday.
But Johnny, it comes back to the miscommunication. We were told that they were going to pick up trash, and obviously that didn't happen. So there, I mean, it's water under the bridge at this point. So we just need to make sure it doesn't happen again.
All we can do is plan ahead.
That's right.
Do we have any other discussion on that?
Understood.
Okay, let's move on to executive session pursuant to section 551.071. Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, council reserves the right to convene into executive sessions from time to time as deemed necessary during this meeting to receive advice from its attorney on any posted agenda item as permitted by law. Additionally, council may convene into executive session to discuss the following: pending or contemplated litigation, or to seek the advice of city attorney pursuant to section 551.071. Discussion regarding possible purchase, sale, exchange, lease, or value of real property pursuant to section 551.072. Forest Hill Drive, item 21045, and personnel matters pursuant to section 551.